Speak Daily English. Real English every day.
Ever felt like your English grammar is spot on? Vocabulary is pretty good, but you still get those blank stares or people asking you to repeat yourself.
Oh yeah, that's a really common frustration.
It really is. But here's something interesting. Getting that confident, clear English isn't just about piling on more words. It's often about mastering the actual sounds, the phonetics.
That's a great way to put it. It's like grammar and vocabulary are the ingredients, but phonetics, that's how you cook them, how you deliver them so people can actually understand and appreciate the meaning.
Okay, right. So let's get into this. In this deep dive, we really want to unlock how you can produce those key English sounds correctly. We'll look at exactly how your mouth should move, flag some common mistakes people make, and importantly, share some practical things you can actually do to improve.
Sounds like a plan. The goal really is to give you a clear roadmap, something you can follow to sound more natural, more confident when you speak English.
So first things first, why is focusing on these tiny sounds, these phonetics, so vital?
Well, it's fundamental, really. English has this surprisingly rich sound system. We're talking about approximately 44 distinct sounds, phonemes, as linguists call them.
44, wow.
Yeah, these are the smallest sound units that actually change a word's meaning. Think pin versus bin. Just that first sound makes all the difference.
Okay.
And those 44 break down into roughly 20 vowel sounds and 24 consonant sounds.
20 vowel sound, that sounds like a lot compared to, say, Spanish or Japanese.
It really is.
Yeah.
Japanese, for example, has about 5 vowel sounds. Spanish also has 5 pure vowels, and they don't have that short versus long vowel distinction that's so important in English, like ship and sheep.
Ah, okay.
So if your native language has fewer sounds, especially fewer vowel sounds, your mouth literally hasn't had the practice making these specific English shapes and movements. That's often the root cause of pronunciation challenges.
So it's like physical training, almost, for your mouth.
Exactly. I love that analogy. Think about a guitarist learning chords. Their fingers need training, muscle memory to hit the right notes cleanly. It's the same for speaking English. You need to train your tongue, lips, jaw to make these sometimes quite specific shapes for English sounds.
Okay, the physical training makes sense. But how much does pronunciation really affect how people hear my English overall? Say, if my grammar's perfect.
Oh, hugely. Research consistently shows it has a significant impact. Unfortunately, even with flawless grammar, if the pronunciation isn't clear, people might perceive you as less competent or maybe less educated, which isn't fair, but it happens.
I can see that.
And it also causes something called listener fatigue. Someone has to constantly strain to decode what you're saying because the sounds aren't quite right. It's tiring for them.
Yeah, that makes total sense. It can be exhausting trying to follow along sometimes.
It can.
Yeah.
And obviously, in important situations, misunderstandings due to pronunciation can have, real consequences. Plus, and this is a big one, constantly worrying about your pronunciation just eats away at your confidence.
Right. It becomes a cycle.
Exactly. But here's the really good news.
Okay.
Pronunciation isn't some fixed talent you're born with. It's a physical skill, like learning to type or ride a bike. And like any skill, it can absolutely be improved with the right approach and consistent practice.
That's actually really encouraging to hear. Do you have like an example of someone who really turned it around?
Yeah, definitely. I remember working with a student from Spain, Miguel. Great English, really strong grasp of the language, but he was very self-conscious, particularly about the sounds, think versus sync and some vowel differences. Yep. He spent just about 3 weeks really focusing only on the phonetics of those specific sounds, doing targeted exercises. And he came back saying his colleagues had stopped asking him to repeat himself all the time. His confidence in meetings just soared.
Wow, in just 3 weeks. That's pretty amazing.
It shows what targeted practice can do. It's not about years. It's about focused effort on the right things.
Okay, so if we want to get this targeted, how do we even know what sound we're aiming for? English spelling is notoriously tricky.
Yes, the chaos of English spelling. That's precisely why we need a better system. And that system is the International Phonetic Alphabet, the IPA.
Right, the IPA. I've seen those symbols in dictionaries. They look a bit intimidating.
They can seem that way at first, I get it, but it's an incredibly useful tool. Basically, the IPA gives you one unique symbol for every single distinct sound in any spoken language. It cuts through the spelling confusion.
How so?
Well, take the she sound. In English spelling, you find it as she in ship, tie in nation, C in special, cheat in machine, even sins in sugar.
Right. It's all over the place. Madness.
Exactly. But in the IPA, no matter how it's spelled, that sound is always written with the same symbol. That's the she sound. C, one sound, one symbol. Reliable.
Okay, I see the logic. It removes the guesswork from the spelling. So if I look up a word and see the IPA symbol.
You'll know exactly how it's pronounced. And look, you don't need to memorize the entire chart overnight. We'll focus on the important ones as we go. But let me show you quickly how it helps differentiate similar words.
Please do.
Okay, take sheep. In IPA, that's a sheep. Now, cheap, that's 6P. See the difference at the start. Versus te.
Ah, yeah, the keek sound.
Exactly. Now compare sheep with ship.
Okay, the vowel looks different. One has a colon at it, the other doesn't.
Right. That colon means it's a long vowel sound, is like in sheep. The two in ship is a shorter, more relaxed sound. And then chip is tip.
So cheap and chip tapes start the same, but have different vowels. Long vis versus short and ship start differently, but have the same vowel pattern.
You've got it. The IPA makes those subtle but crucial differences crystal clear. That's the power of phonetics for really nailing your pronunciation.
Okay, I'm starting to see why this is so important. Let's dive into the actual sounds then. You mentioned vowels are often tricky.
They really are. They form the core of syllables, and yeah, they're often a major hurdle. The key difference between vowels and consonants is airflow. Vowels have an open vocal tract. Consonants involve some kind of blockage or narrowing.
Right.
And the way we change vowel sounds is mainly by altering the shape of the mouth, using the tongue and lips. English has, as we said, around 12 pure vowel sounds, monophthongs, and about 8 diphthongs, which are like vowel glides, two sounds together. Let's focus on a few pure vowels that cause the most trouble.
Sounds good. Where do we start?
A classic pair.
Yeah.
The long E sound versus the short I sound.
Okay, like leave versus live.
Exactly. Or sheep, he and eats. Bisful, those all have a long I. Compare that with ship. Hit, fill, to
Right.
roll. They have the short M. For the long I's, think of a slight smile, lips spread a bit. Your tongue is quite high up and forward in your mouth. It's a tense sound, and it's longer.
Okay, I feel that. Tense.
Now for the short end. Relax your lips more. Your tongue is still frontish, but a little lower than for ISS. It's shorter, more relaxed.
Yeah, definitely feels different. More relaxed.
Good. Let's try putting them in a sentence. Listen first. The sheep sentence will sleep in the field, physicist. Now maybe you can try saying that.
Okay. Pause. The sheep will sleep in the field.
Good. Now the other sound. But the ship will sit in the sea. Sis, your turn.
Pause. But the ship will sit in the sea. Huh, that last word went back to Isaac.
It did. See how contrast helps. Okay, what's another tricky pair?
What about the vowels in bed and bad? They sound similar sometimes.
Yes, another classic confusion. That's the E sound, as in bed, head, said, versus the A sound, as in bad, hat, back.
Right.
For E, bed, your mouth is only partially open. Your tongue is kind of mid-height.
Okay.
For A, you need to open your mouth wider, drop your jaw more. Your tongue should feel flatter and lower. It's a more open sound.
Well, yeah, much more open. Bad.
Exactly. Let's practice that contrast. Listen. The men said the weather was. Try that part.
Pause. The men said the weather was.
Good. Now the next part. Bad bade for the match. Your turn.
Pause. Bad for the match. Got it. Feels quite different when you focus.
It does. Awareness is the first step. Now, you mentioned hearing a sound all the time, often in unstressed parts of words.
Yeah, it's like a weak mumbled sound.
That's almost certainly the schwa. In IPA, you hear it in the first syllable of about middle of computer concern, the first A in supply since way.
Oh.
It's actually the most common sound in spoken English. It pops up constantly in unstressed syllables, and mastering it is absolutely key for getting that natural English rhythm.
Why is it so important for rhythm?
Because English is stress-timed. We emphasize certain syllables and kind of rush through or reduce the unstressed ones. The schwa is that reduced sound. If you give equal weight to every syllable, like in some other languages, it sounds very unnatural, sort of robotic.
Gotcha. So how do you make it?
It's the ultimate lazy sound. Your mouth is just relaxed, slightly open. Your tongue is neutral, right in the middle. It's short and totally unstressed.
Huh. Almost nothing.
Pretty much. Let's try a sentence full of them. A computer current story was about your turn.
A computer was about to
Delivered with the data, a summary of the data. Try that.
deliver a summary of the data. Wow, they are everywhere when you listen for them.
They really are. One more tricky vowel for now. The sound.
Oh yeah, like in bird or work. That feels strange to make.
It often does, because it doesn't exist in many languages. That's the sound. You hear it in board journey. First, the little colon means it's long.
Okay. How's the mouth position?
Lips are pretty neutral, not rounded or spread much. Your tongue is kind of in the middle, mid-height. It's a sustained sound.
Work first.
Exactly. Let's try. The early-edged bird learns. Your turn.
The early bird learns.
The words. Do its first, preschurst. You try.
Pause. The words first. Yeah, definitely need to practice that one.
It takes focus. So for all vowels, the key things to pay attention to are tongue height, tongue position front to back, lip shape, and the length of attention.
Right. And you suggested recording yourself.
Absolutely. Practice the sound alone, then in words, then sentences, record it, listen back, compare it to a native speaker example. It's incredibly helpful.
Great advice. Okay, that covers some key vowels. What about consonants? Which ones trip people up most often?
Well, top of the list has to be the totha sounds.
Ah, yes. The dreaded toe.
Indeed. There are actually two. The voiceless sotha sound, like in think, breath, mouth, and the voiced a sound, like in the breathe smooth.
Voiceless and voiced, what's the difference?
Vibration in your throat. Put your hand in your throat. For think, no vibration. Do. For a, you feel a buzz. A.
I feel it.
Good. The mouth position is the same for both. Gently place the tip of your tongue between your teeth or just behind the top teeth and let air flow through that small gap.
Okay. Between the teeth.
Gently. Don't bite down hard. Common mistakes are swapping it for S or Z, so sink instead of think, or T or D like tink or dink.
Right.
Let's practice. I think these three things such is your turn.
Pause. I think these three things need to keep that tongue forward.
You do. Keep practicing.
No?
Are Davy's things? Try that bit.
Pause. Are worth the effort.
Oh.
Okay. Needs work, but I get the idea. What else?
Another big one, especially for speakers of certain Asian languages, is the difference between R and L, like right versus light.
Yes, definitely heard that confusion.
For the English R, the tongue tip curls back slightly in the mouth, but crucially, it doesn't touch the roof of the mouth. The sides of the tongue might touch the insides of your top back teeth. Lips might round a bit. R right, wrong, very?
Okay, curling back, no touching.
Exactly. Now for OL, the tongue tip does touch. It presses against the bumpy ridge just behind your upper front teeth, the alveolar ridge. Air flows around the sides of the tongue. Ale, light, long, valley.
L, tip up. Right. Feels very different.
It is. Let's try phrase. The A right, rate light, rarely, severely. Your turn.
Pause. The right light rarely.
Appears on the A left. Try it.
Pause. Appears on the left. Okay. Practice needed.
It always takes practice. What about consonant clusters? Groups of consonants together.
Oh, yeah, like street or splash, or at the end, like texts.
Exactly. Words starting with stort, itop, or ending in sounds like sturts, ests, chorists. Next. Many languages don't allow consonants to bunch up like that, so learners often insert little vowel sounds, like ease treat or textease.
Right, I've heard that. How do you tackle those?
Break them down. Say the cluster slowly first, exaggerating each sound. STR, then speed it up. STR street. Practice makes the muscles coordinate. Let's try. Cheat says stretch your turn.
Pause. She stretched her hands. That T at the end is tough.
It is. Keep going. And grasped arty strings trees. Try it.
Then grasp the strings. Yeah. Requires concentration.
Another common pair. V and W.
Like very and wary.
Precisely. Very. Save, love, use V water. Away, how, use W. They get mixed up.
How are they made differently?
For V, your top teeth gently touch your bottom lip, like you're lightly biting it. Then you push air through, vibrating your vocal cords. V.
V. Okay, teeth on lip.
For W, it's all about the lips. Round them tightly, like you're about to whistle, but keep your teeth apart. Then quickly move into the next vowel sound, W water.
Yeah, you're right. Lips rounded. Very different actions.
Completely different. Let's try. We Wistress would do very harshly. Your turn.
We would very much like.
For to Divi Tweets visit the Arise West Village. Your turn.
Pause. Our eyes visit the West Village.
Okay. VVSW. Got it. Any other common consonant issues? One last big one. Final consonants. Sometimes learners drop them completely saying tie instead of time, or they add a little vowel sound at the end, book instead of book, or they voiced consonants saying doc instead of dog.
Right. So the ends of words get messy.
They can. The key is simply to make sure you fully pronounce that final sound. Exaggerate it slightly when practicing. Minimal pairs help here too, like cap versus cab, or pick versus pig. Really focus on that final sound.
Okay.
Let's try a sentence focusing on final sounds. The A big bay dog, sat at. Your turn.
Pause. The big dog sat at.
The A bake bag, the A red truck. Your turn.
Pause the back of the red truck. Okay, really got to hit those G, T, T, K sounds.
Exactly. And using a mirror when you practice consonants can be really helpful just to see if your lips and tongue are doing what you think they're doing.
Good tip. So, okay, we've covered individual vowels and consonants, but sounding natural isn't just about getting each sound perfect in isolation, is it?
Not at all. That's a huge piece of the puzzle, but it's not the whole picture. You also need to master the music of English, the rhythm, stress, and intonation.
The music. Okay, tell me more.
Well, think about word stress first. Within a word of more than one syllable gets more emphasis, it's louder, longer, maybe higher pitched, like in photographer. The stress is on TO.
Right.
If you stress the wrong syllable, it can make the word really hard to understand or even change the meaning. Think about present, the noun, versus present, the verb, or record versus record.
Ah, yeah, those non-verb pairs, content noun versus content adjective.
Exactly. So practice identifying and producing the correct stress. Mark it in words you're learning. Exaggerate the stressed syllable when you practice. And unstressed syllables, they often get reduced, often to that schwa sound we talked about.
Okay, stress within words. What about the rhythm across a whole sentence?
That's sentence stress. English is generally a stress-timed language. This means we tend to put stress on the important content, word nouns, main verbs, adjectives, adverbs.
The words that carry the main meaning.
Precisely. And the function words, articles like a, the, prepositions like to, of, auxiliary verbs like can, they usually get unstressed, said more quickly, often reduced. This creates the characteristic rhythm.
So instead of saying, I can go to the store for food with equal stress.
Right. It sounds more natural, like I can go to the store for food. The main meaning words pop out. Practice reading aloud and consciously emphasizing those content words. Tapping your hand to the rhythm can help too.
I can hear that difference. It sounds much more fluid. Okay, so word stress, sentence stress. What's intonation?
Intonation is the melody, the rise and fall of your voice, pitch across a sentence. It conveys a lot of meaning beyond the words themselves, emotion, attitude, whether you're asking a question or making a statement.
Okay, examples.
Sure. Yes, no questions usually have rising intonation at the end. Are you coming? Surprise often has a high rise. Really. Listing items might have rises until the last one. I need eggs, milk, and bread.
Okay. And falling intonation?
Typically used for statements. I'm going home. Commands. Close the door. And what questions? Who, what, where, why? Where are you going?
So if you get the intonation wrong.
It can cause confusion. A statement might sound like a question, or flat intonation might make you sound bored or even rude unintentionally.
Right. How do you practice that?
Listen carefully to native speakers. Try marking the pitch patterns up arrows, down arrows on texts you read. Exaggerate the patterns when you practice. Shadowing, which we'll talk about, is great for this.
It really is like music. Stress is the beat, intonation is the melody. Anything else for fluency?
One more key thing, connected speech, how words flow together smoothly in natural speech. Sounds change, link up, or sometimes even disappear.
Like want to becoming wanna.
Exactly. Or how turn off often sounds like turn off. Or good boy might sound like good boy. Or next day, like next day. Sounds blend and change at word boundaries.
Okay.
Listening for these connections and trying to replicate them slowly at first makes your speech sound much more fluid and less choppy.
Got it. So individual sounds are the foundation, but rhythm, stress, intonation, and connected speech are what build the natural sounding structure on top.
You got it. They all work together. Unnatural rhythm or intonation can make you sound foreign, even if every single sound is technically perfect.
This is all incredibly useful. So practically speaking, what are some specific exercises people can do regularly to work on all this?
Okay, great question. Number 1, minimal pairs training. We touched on this. Find pairs of words that differ by only one sound, like sheep and ship, or fan, fane, and van, fane.
Right.
First, just practice listening and telling them apart. Then practice saying them yourself, maybe exaggerating the difference slightly. Finally, use them in sentences. This really trains your ear and your mouth for those subtle distinctions.
Good one. What else?
Tongue twisters. They might seem silly, but they're fantastic for developing muscle memory and coordination for tricky sounds or clusters.
Like Peter Piper picked a peck.
Exactly. Or for Velwin, 3 thin thinkers thinking thick, thoughtful thoughts. For R and L, red lorry, yellow lorry. For clusters, strict, strong strings, start slow, focus on getting the sounds right, then gradually speed up. Doing them 5-10 times daily really helps.
Okay, tongue twisters. Fun, but effective. Next.
Shadowing.
Yeah.
This is incredibly powerful. You basically listen to a native speaker, maybe from a recording or video, and you repeat what they say in real time, trying to match their sounds, rhythm, and intonation as closely as possible.
So, talking along with them.
Yeah. Listen to a short phrase, pause, then play it again and speak along. Don't worry about understanding every word initially. Focus on mirroring the sounds and the melody.
I like that. What about seeing what your mouth is doing?
Mirror work. Simple but effective. Stand in front of a mirror and practice problematic sounds. Watch your lips, your jaw, even try to see your tongue position. Compare what you see to diagrams or videos of how the sound should be made. You can even record yourself on your phone camera.
Visual feedback. Smart. Any tips for longer words?
Backward building. This is great for multi-syllable words where stress is important, like opportunity. Instead of starting from the beginning, start from the end.
How does that work?
You say the last syllable, bimdi, then add the one before, ebmandi, then benidi, then bettertunity. Finally, opportunity. It helps you get the rhythm and stress right without rushing the beginning.
Opportunity, beanity, clever.
Work right.
It works. Also, just plain daily reading aloud. Spend 10-15 minutes each day reading something out loud. Focus on a different aspect each day. One day, focus only on getting the li sound right. The next day, focus on word stress, then sentence rhythm, then intonation, then connected speech. Record yourself sometimes to track progress.
Consistent, focused practice.
Exactly. And one last little trick, the humming technique. If you're struggling with sentence rhythm and intonation, try reading the sentence silently first, then hum the sentence, keeping the same stress patterns and pitch changes. It lets you feel the melody without worrying about the words.
Humming the sentence. Interesting. That really isolates the musicality. It does. The main takeaway is consistency. Even 15 minutes of focused practice daily is far more effective than one long session once a week. You're training your ear and your mouth muscles.
These exercises sound really practical. Are there any technology tools or apps that can help with this phonetics journey?
Oh, absolutely. Technology can be a fantastic supplement. There are pronunciation apps like ALAS Speak, which uses AI to give you feedback on specific sounds and intonation. SpeechLing lets you record yourself and get feedback from actual native speakers.
AI feedback and human feedback.
Okay, there are apps specifically for the IPA, like Sounds, the pronunciation app, which show you the symbols, play the sounds, and often have diagrams of mouth positions.
Useful for referencing. What about online resources?
Loads. You can find interactive IPA charts online with audio examples. Websites like Youglish are amazing. You type in a word, and it shows you YouTube videos where native speakers say that word in context. Forvo is a huge database of word pronunciations by native speakers from different regions.
Youglish, Forvo, got it. Any tools for seeing your own speech?
More advanced users might like software called Prot, which lets you visualize your speech waveforms and pitch contours. But even just using a standard voice recording app on your phone, especially one with slow playback, can give you great auditory feedback.
Right. And for structured learning.
Definitely check out resources like Rachel's English on YouTube for American English pronunciation. She has fantastic detailed videos. BBC Learning English has great pronunciation tips, often focusing on British English. And platforms like Udemy or Coursera often have dedicated phonetics and pronunciation courses.
Lots of options. What about practicing with real people?
Crucial. Language exchange apps like Tandem or HelloTalk can connect you with native speakers. Online tutoring platforms like italki or Preplay let you find tutors who specialize in pronunciation. There are even Discord communities focused on pronunciation practice.
Okay, so how do you recommend people actually use all these tools effectively? It seems a bit overwhelming.
Good point. Start with some kind of assessment. Maybe record yourself, use a diagnostic test if available, or get feedback to figure out your main problem areas. Then choose just one or two tools or resources that target those areas. Don't try to use everything at once.
Focus is key.
Yes. Establish a regular routine for using them. Seek feedback regularly, whether from an app, a tutor, or a language partner. And keep track of your progress, maybe with a recording diary. Remember, these tools supplement your practice. They don't replace the exercises we talked about.
Right. Technology is a helper, not a magic wand.
Exactly. The best approach usually combines targeted exercises with helpful tools and feedback.
Okay, this is all fantastic information. So let's say someone listening is feeling motivated. How can they create their own personalized improvement plan?
Great question. It's about being systematic. Step 1. Identify your specific challenges. Record yourself reading something, listen back critically. Ask a native speaker friend or a tutor for honest feedback. Think about sounds that exist in English but not in your native language. Those are likely trouble spots. Focus on the issues that cause the most misunderstandings or impact your confidence the most.
Be specific about the problems. Okay, step 2.
Prioritize your goals. You can't fix everything at once. Pick maybe 2-3 key sounds or features, like vowel length or sentence stress, that will make the biggest difference to your clarity. Focus on high-frequency sounds first.
Makes sense. Tackle the biggest issues first, then.
Step 3. Create a structured practice schedule. Daily practice, even short bursts, is much better than infrequent long sessions. Maybe Monday is for vowel pair X, Tuesday for consonant Y, Wednesday for word stress practice, Thursday for rhythm and intonation using shadowing, Friday for integrating it all by reading aloud, and the weekend for review or more shadowing. Find what works for you, but schedule it in.
Make it a habit, like going to the gym.
Exactly like that. Step 4. Track your progress. Record yourself reading the same short passage every week or two. Keep a pronunciation journal, noting what you practiced and any breakthroughs or ongoing struggles. Seek feedback periodically.
See the improvement, stay motivated. And finally,
Step 5. Adjust based on results. After maybe 4-6 weeks, reassess. Have you improved on your target sounds? Great. Celebrate that success. Are there new areas you've noticed? Are some exercises working better than others? Modify your routine based on what's working and what still needs attention.
it's an ongoing process.
It is. And be patient. Improvement is usually gradual. Acknowledge the small wins along the way. A realistic timeline might look something like this. Maybe 2-4 weeks for initial awareness and being able to consciously correct yourself. 1-3 months for more consistent accuracy when you're really focusing. 3 to 6 months for it to start feeling more natural in prepared speech, like presentations. And maybe 6-12 months or more for significant improvement in spontaneous, everyday conversation.
That puts it in perspective. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Absolutely. But the key is consistent, focused practice. Remember, 10-15 minutes every day is genuinely better than trying to cram an hour in once a week.
This has been incredibly illuminating. Honestly, I feel much clearer now on why phonetics matters so much and how to actually work on it. It seems less mysterious now.
That's the goal. Remember, mastering phonetics isn't just about sounding better. It's about being understood clearly, letting your ideas take center stage instead of your accent, and boosting your overall confidence when speaking English. It's a really rewarding skill to develop.
Definitely. We've covered a lot why phonetics is crucial, those tricky vowels and consonants, the whole musical side with rhythm, stress, and intonation, plus loads of practical exercises and tools, and how to build your own plan.
Yeah, the main thing to remember is that pronunciation is a physical skill. It needs training, just like any other physical skill. But with the right techniques and that consistent practice we keep mentioning, clear, confident English pronunciation is absolutely within your reach.
Fantastic. A really encouraging note to end on. So maybe something for you listening to think about. Which specific sound or aspect of pronunciation that we discussed today feels like the biggest hurdle for you right now? And how could you apply one of these strategies, maybe starting tomorrow, to tackle it? Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.